All right. So we are going to look at voting and why people vote for who they vote for, and then we're going to look at how people in our government actually help you guys, the voters, the constituents. And then we'll have a little bit time at the end to do a review, and that'll be more for actually just Rachel and I'll probably do that, because then on Monday, before we test, if you guys need some review time, we can do that. So we can just kind of figure it out. So I'll get going on this stuff. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So I'm going to read this, and you guys at home, and Rachel and Lexi too, you can get off your devices, or you're in RP, but you can get off your device now. I'm going to read a couple scenarios, and then you guys can feel free to jump in if you want to. Like, this section is better done, and it's so hard because 5 of you are at home and Rachel's in classroom by herself. So it's easier to do this in a discussion format, which kind of sucks. But we'll just do the best we can. So, what factors influence congressional decision making? So, how do our Congress people decide what they should vote on, what they should even make bills on? I'm going to give you, there's a couple scenarios here. So imagine you are a U.S. representative being elected to public office. You are a research scientist. A member of your party has proposed a bill about genetically modified food, which are foods that have been genetically engineered for human consumption. Many other members of your party plan to vote in favor of it, and a majority of your constituents support the bill. However, your experience as a scientist tells you this bill is not a good idea. Several of your scientific colleagues have emailed or texted you asking you to oppose the bill. What will you do? Will you vote for the bill because your constituents support it, or vote against it because your own knowledge tells you it's a bad policy? Would it matter if your party strongly supported the bill? What if an industry that contributed to your campaign supported the bill? So, do you guys know what GMOs are? Genetically
modified organisms.
Genetically modified organisms. So it means and there's a lot of them in foods, and a lot of people don't agree with them because they're actually bad for you. Kids, they say, are developing faster because of these genetically modified things, especially in milk. I don't always, but I try and get GMO-free milk for my kids. But that doesn't mean that they don't eat GMO products like cheese and things like that.
Like, my sister is taller than me. My little sister is taller than me. She's 12. She looks like how I looked when I was now.
Yeah, Rachel's saying that her sister that's 12 is taller than she is now, and part of that might be genetics, but
my 10-year-old half sister, no, we're all short. All of them. Luke's short.
Yeah.
Timmy's short. Luke's taller than Timmy, but and my little sister Lily, she can run so fast, and she's tall. And then my half sister that lives with my biological dad is 10 and is taller than my mom.
Yeah. So part of the thing with GMOs that scientists believe is that girls are going through puberty younger. Boys are going through puberty younger, but girls are actually going. Joe's in the classroom, but they're getting their periods when they're a lot younger than girls used to get. So it used to be girls were 10, 12, or I mean 12, 13, 14 years old, and now girls as young as 9 and 10 are starting puberty really early. So it's kind of scary, actually, for parents to see that happening. Anyway, but you are a representative, and your constituents want you to vote for this bill. It could be that you live in a place where there's farmers using these hormones on their cows and things so that they produce more milk. It could be that you live in Nebraska or Iowa, and you have tons and tons of cornfields to feed, that goes for human consumption, and you're using genetically modified corn so that it grows faster and grows bigger. So as a constituent, you say, yeah, vote for the bill. And we voted for you for government, so you need to vote for us. As a scientist, you go, this is bad for humans. So what do you do in this situation? Or what should you do? Anybody want to comment?
I mean, I would personally vote against it because I'm a scientist and I know that it's like not good.
Okay, so Rachel said she would vote against it because she's a scientist and she knows it's bad.
I would vote against it.
You vote against it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now here's the thing. If you vote against it and make your constituents angry and it doesn't pass and maybe farmers in that area lose out on a bunch of money, are they going to vote for you next time?
No.
No, but then they'll realize that they made a big mistake.
Rachel's like, no, they might not vote for me, but they'll realize they made a big mistake. And that example is just a perfect example of what our representatives and senators have to go through. Whether or not they agree with the bill or not, they have to vote for what their constituents want. So a representative should actually vote yes for this. But you come into that dilemma where it's against your morals and ethics to vote for something like that.
If I'm a scientist and I know for a hard fact that it's bad, I'm not gonna vote for it.
Yeah. But this is something that makes their job difficult.
Is it possible to have a discussion?
Yeah. So Rachel just asked, would it be possible to have a discussion? You would absolutely have a discussion. But if the bill's made it as far as like we talked about yesterday, so the bill is introduced, you're probably on this committee, but the rest of the committee is going to vote for it. It's going to go to the House floor. At some point, you don't have any control anymore. So that's something that our representatives have to deal with. So the next thing is, whatever you decide, some people will be unhappy. What steps would you take to explain your vote and minimize conflict? Below are some options, but you may have better ideas. So one of the things you could do would be hold town meetings to gather views and inform people about the issue, send out a newsletter explaining your vote, or hold a press conference to explain your vote. So, and this is something that a good representative would do. They might hold a town meeting, especially if they're a small district. If this was at the state level, they might gather all the people that are very interested in what's going on and be like, this is why I'm voting the way I am. And I understand that you're upset with me, but this is really bad for humans. It's bad for kids. That's why I'm voting against it. So, do you guys have any questions on that? What's that?
People in power don't care about kids.
That's not true. Anybody have any questions?
I think some people in power care a little too much nowadays.
Oh, Lexi, ew.
I'm just saying.
Okay. So let me see here. We haven't done a lot of political cartoons. But if you look at that cartoon, it says there's a congressperson and they're like, I'm not sure what to do about this bill. I guess I'll just vote my conscience. And you have the voters in the background going, well, what about us? And this happens for Congress people all the time. So just know that you guys have power. Even if you didn't vote for the person that's in power, you still have the power to disagree with them. And I know for the summative, for the other classes, they're doing a project where they're writing a letter to a state or a federal, either assembly person or congressperson. I'm not doing it because I guess if you guys want to do it, you could do it for extra credit. I'll put it out there. I feel like with some of you still need to turn in your writing assignment from the last one. I didn't want to put another one on you, and I know having a Schoology test will be easier for students to get done. But the way that we talk to our representatives is letter writing, emails, going to rallies, going to town hall meetings, things like that. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to just kind of skip through this chapter because I don't think we need to. This is just, if you can see here, it says messages from home, surveys and polls. These things happen. You guys have probably seen polls right now, right? Has anybody seen polls on the election? Like who's going to win, What's
Isn't it Biden right now? Like,
right now? He's only ahead by like 8 points though, so he's not ahead by like a landslide. So I know some people are predicting it, but they predicted Hillary was going to win too. So I think it's going to be a super close election. That's for president. If you walk on the streets in town, you'll see signs in people's yards, right? Lots and lots of signs in people's yards supporting one candidate or another. That's important. And then if you just look on here, it says influence of parties. Do parties help representatives and senators decide what to vote for? What do you guys think? So if you're a Democrat, do you cross party lines and vote for things that Republicans want? Or do you just vote for what Democrats want? What do you guys think? Anybody?
I feel like you would vote for who your party is.
Yeah. And that's a problem right now, is that our legislators are voting along party lines instead of voting what their constituents want all the time. And that's a problem we have with our party system right now. And that's enough about the parties, because
so, do we need this, like, for any of the days?
yeah, hold on.
I was just like,
Yep. Okay. Does the president have influence on how people vote?
yeah.
And Rachel said yeah, and I would say yeah if he's in your party. But I would honestly say that most votes take place along party lines. Not all the time. But if you have a Senate-controlled or a Republican-controlled Senate, which we do right now, chances are if you vote on something and you need a majority of senators and it's a Republican issue, it's going to pass. And the House is Democrat right now. So not much is getting through Congress right now because your two houses are different parties. So it's a problem in our government today. All right, so last thing, and then we're just going to go on to how people, your leaders help people. And remember, this stuff, you can take notes on it. It's in the review. Just the stuff that is in the review, you need to take notes on. And this stuff is all in your book. So I'm sorry I don't have a slideshow today. Time just kind of got away from me. But let me read this one. Sometimes local and national interest conflict. Addressing a national problem may create health, safety, or economic problems at the state and local levels. Think about how you would respond to the following situations. So, the United States needs somewhere to dispose of waste from nuclear power plants. Experts say the site will be completely safe. It's not a threat to public health, but people worry. The proposed disposal site is 200 miles from where you live. What would you want your congressperson to do? Do you want a nuclear disposal site near your home?
You want it underground. You would want it underground.
Rachel said maybe underground, but would it damage groundwater then?
Right, but wait. We're talking about like nuclear stuff?
Nuclear, yeah, the waste.
Most of the time it's maybe underground.
So Rachel
Well, not
says,
by my house, obviously.
would you want it by your house though? Rachel's like, no.
Would happen, like, just one day I just not wake up and be like, oh, I have like radiation poisoning.
What if it brings in jobs and money to your community? Does that create some conflict in you? No, Rachel's like, no, I don't want to live by nuclear waste. But that, once again, that's something that our representatives have to deal with. Let's look at the next one. Worldwide opinion about the United States would improve if the prison at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba were closed. The president proposed moving 10 of the remaining suspect terrorists at the prison to a federal penitentiary in your state. So we're going to close Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. That's good because some bad things have happened there. But now we're going to bring those terrorists and they're going to be in a prison in your state. Do you want that or not? Or doesn't it matter to you? Do you feel our prisons are safe enough?
I think our prisons are safe enough. They have like too many security different like things.
Rachel feels like that wouldn't be a problem because there's enough security that it would be safe.
Everyone knows what they would look like too. I'm sure it'd be all over the news. Everyone would be aware. So.
Okay, so Rachel's okay with it. Are you guys okay with it? You want terrorists living? You would be? Okay, yes.
No,
You wouldn't, because what if a terrorist organization tries to break them free?
exactly.
And
Like, there's so many problems that could happen with that, and it wouldn't be good for us, because they could get free, and like, what if they go on a killing rampage and we do
I
that?
see.
I know,
they,
it's
like,
scary.
Separated them. Like,
Oh,
if they all, like, let's say they go to one state and another state.
Rachel has an idea.
So-
She said, let's separate them to go to different states so that they're not all in one place.
Like, yo, dude, you want to conspire to break out of here?
And that sounds like a good idea. Yep. So once again, things our representatives have to think about. Last one. The U.S. debt is huge. To get the debt under control, all government agencies must reduce spending. The Department of Defense has proposed closing several large military bases. One is located in your community. You and many of your friends have civilian jobs on base. So this is actually happening. Our national debt is in the trillions. The only way to stop a debt is to pay it off. So
Question.
we either have to raise taxes or spend less. Rachel.
How is there world debt? How? Like, can't you just, like, hit a restart button?
Rachel's like, how can there be world debt? Can't we press reset? It's money that's owed to either other countries or private citizens.
Okay.
So
That's, like, makes no sense.
yeah. So that's what it is.
Okay.
This happened in Sauk a while back, but there was a big facility there and it closed. What happens to jobs when a facility like that closes? But by
Wait,
jobs.
wasn't that the Badger ammunition?
Yep.
Yeah, I used to live right across from that, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so when that closed, tons of jobs were lost. And it
Yeah.
doesn't just affect the jobs that people are losing, it affects restaurants that people that work there go to, the housing market, like everything like that. And it has taken years for Sauk to kind of rebuild and regrow now. And they have, but it took a long time.
It's still Sauk is still pretty, like, it sucks there.
Oh. So, okay. Enough about that. I'm just gonna go to just a couple things about helping constituents. So this is just a little game, I guess. We'll talk about this. We'll do this one quick, and then we'll talk about how our Congress people can help us, and then we'll go from there. So these are, you imagine you work for a senator and part of your job involves reading requests from constituents and responding to them. You quickly learn that some requests and responses are very complicated while others can be handled by a standard reply. You also learn that some requests are strange or misguided, often from people who don't understand what is or not government issue. Alternately, they may not understand what requests should be directed to city or state officials who can better handle the problem. So let's say you're a staffer. Remember we talked about personal staff of our Congress people. You get a letter saying, "Dear Sarah, I'm offended by the inappropriate things that get broadcast on television these days. Can you do anything about it?" So, can you do anything about that as a senator or representative?
So what's broadcast on TV?
Yeah, so what you see on TV.
I don't think so.
Okay, Rachel doesn't think so. Anybody else?
What
Go ahead.
did you say?
So, can our Congress people, do they have any control over what is broadcast on television?
Yeah.
They do, actually. They can propose legislation that would, and this happened probably before you guys were born, but you know how everything has a rating? You'll see that like TV PG or TV R or whatever. That rating system was put on television, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, through an act of Congress so that parents could tell if something was safe for their kids to watch or not. So that one, it's much more complicated than just like saying, "Hey, can you do something about it?" It takes a lot longer, but yeah. Dear Madam, my garbage didn't get picked up today. Can you take care of it? can your U.S. representative or even your state representative do anything about that?
No.
No. That would be a local issue where you call the city and be like, dude, you forgot my street this week. Can you come get my garbage? Okay. My niece is missing, dear Senator, my niece is missing in a foreign country. We think she has been arrested, but no one can tell us what she is charged with or where she is. Can you help? So, go ahead. Somebody said something. And this one, I know that you could talk to your consulate in that foreign country.
I
So
know it has to, like, it doesn't have to go beyond that, though.
yeah, it has to go beyond your state senator or your senator. So it would
probably, like, tell them, and then they could, like, give you a resource to the next person.
Yeah, so Rachel said you could tell them and they could probably give you a resource to the next person. And I'm going to put yes, that would be your first step. And then it's probably going to go a step beyond that. Dear Senator, I've been waiting for my IRS refund for 13 months. They are not returning my calls or emails. Can you help? So you're dealing with the IRS. Can our senators or congressmen do anything about that?
What?
The IRS, dealing with taxes. You didn't get your tax
No.
return.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's an executive agency. So Congress people really, I don't think could do anything about that. And then the last one, dear Senator, can I work in your office as an intern this summer? What do you guys think?
I mean, you could ask them, but I doubt that they'd say yeah.
Yeah, but certainly you could certainly ask them. What happens if I save? Oh, it doesn't tell me the answers. Oh well.
Okay.
That's okay though.
Wait, wasn't it over there? Like, you had to, like, hit reveal answers or something?
Yeah, it usually says reveal answers, but this one's not. Well, that's okay.
Miss Davis,
I think you guys are right on all these. Yes, dear.
I just looked at the COVID stuff,
Yeah,
at the symptoms, and I have 7 symptoms.
you should definitely get tested, honey. Okay, so anyway, this section just talks about how your Congress people can help you. So you guys, I mean, if you want to read through it, it's a good one to read through, but you certainly, like, there's only a few things on it, and there's some vocab on there that you'll want to check out for the test. Do you guys have any questions? So make sure, remember this review. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this one.